We have to keep all those innovations secret until they're ready to be released. One of those innovations will be released tomorrow, and it's one that I spent all kinds of time with our team on all year long, and we wanted to release it at our Vitality event, but then Nick convinced us to wait till this junction here today. So that said, you guys are going to get something that no one else has this weekend. No one else has ever had in the history of ViSalus. And by the way, I get to operate at this 30,000 foot level that I've talked about in terms of leveraging assets and infrastructure and putting up the video monitors and things like that so the employees know exactly what the field's focused on. And Blake works in the trenches. He's the person who makes sure every little detail, every label is read, every little detail when it comes to marketing, when it comes to everything from our challenge magazine to how we enter into a new country. I mean, every little detail has to touch Blake's hands. He once was a distributor, promoter himself, spent many years being successful doing that, so he knows what it's like to be a promoter. He has that filter, and clearly he's, someone said that I was a genius, and I was like, no. Blake is the genius. I get to operate here because he operates there, and because Nick is, one of the greatest leaders, I think, in the history of this industry. So that said, I want to give it to the third head of the monster, as Nick likes to call it. This is Blake. Thank you.
Ryan calls himself a nerd, but he's a pretty cool nerd, right? Like who else is going to put a garage door as the door? Do you guys know you're sitting right under a garage door right there in terms of that conference room? Or if you guys walk around, you probably noticed a bunch of kind of cool looking wood toward the middle that, Ryan didn't want to put new wood inside the corporate headquarters. He wanted wood from buildings from downtown Detroit to represent kind of the feel of the city that we live in. And just walking around, you see the detail. How many of you guys think we're in a pretty cool place? And that's because of Ryan, his innovation and his commitment to culture. So I appreciate that. But you guys give our CEO a big round of applause. Tour? Yeah, you guys think we should bring more people to this headquarters?
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting. I was watching you guys kind of walk around and observe all the nuances and look at the staff, and some of you guys were eavesdropping on some conversations and doing your diligence. That's a cool tour, but I'll be honest with you, I think the tour started in the wrong place. And the reason I say I think the tour started in the wrong place is what you don't know is literally, and I don't know what direction I'm facing right here. I think what direction is it? Right out this way? I think it's right out this way, and about maybe a half a mile down the street was where all of this started, right? Right about half a mile, less than half a mile, was where all of this started. So for those of you guys that don't know the entire backstory, myself and Nick, we did meet about 14 years ago in a network marketing direct selling company. When I was 18 years old, Nick a couple years older, one of my original mentors, and we ended up becoming really successful in that business at a really young age in the field. And about 5 years into that, where we were at the top of the comp plan, we thought we were young and retired, done at 21 years old, right? Was the mindset that we were in. Overly confident, balanced with a whole lot of naivety at that age. And 5 years into that, for those of you guys that don't know the whole backstory of really what led us to where we are, we got the phone call from that company that basically said, the company's losing money, investors are done funding, we've tried everything, we're shutting our doors. And how many of you guys have been in a situation similar where, even though things outside your control, all of a sudden you put work into something and one day it was gone? Who's been put in that situation, right? Look at another room. When you're in rooms of influencers, generally you find common trends. And one of the common trends I find is we've all been through a lot of shit. Anybody? It's just one of the things that I've kind of found as a recurring pattern in successful people. You don't become successful and stay successful without going through some stuff, right? And anyway, that was the roots. That was really what spurred the concept of ViSalus. Myself and Nick at that time, naive, emotionally attached. We said, well, there's no way we're going to let you shut this down. We spent 5 years building this. We have thousands of people following us. We've been painting a vision. This is what we want to do. We were emotionally attached. Who knows what I mean by that, right? Heartstrings. And we ended up saying, you know what, forget it. We'll run the company and run the field. We'll do everything. We'll take it over, a completely sinking ship. And that company headquarters was a half a mile down the street. And I remember the first day we walked in there, we had to, it was nothing close to this. We had to shut down the office that they were in. Everybody pretty much left on the employee level. There were 2 employees that decided to stick with us. We moved out of the small office into what was the shipping closet for that last company. And we set up a couple desks a half a mile down the road, and that was the start of the ViSalus headquarters a little over 8 years ago. Matter of fact, you guys might have saw those 2 employees are still with us. They were sitting right over there when you were taking the tour earlier today. That stuck with us all the way through because they believed in an early vision before there was any proof of anything. And I remember having those conversations with them that we said, look, stick with us. Someday we'll be able to build something. You'll override organizations. You'll help us build the infrastructure, right? You'll help us, create something great. And it's interesting you guys are watching around, you don't even know them from the other 400 people in this room that have been here along those roads. It's an interesting perspective to know where we came from and then walk into a place like this. I'm a firm believer you can never forget where you came from. Do you guys agree with me on that one? And a lot of times where you come from, that determines your fabric of your character, who you are, right? Really what makes you. And I remember sitting there and telling the employees that. I remember sitting there and telling some of the initial promoters that. Not many of the promoters believed us at that time either, right? Most of the people ended up leaving. There were about a dozen or so individuals that decided to make that transition and were with us at the very start. They're still with us today, all ambassadors and above, many of them multi-millionaire earners and above, but it was few and far between back then. But it's interesting when you look back, right? And I can remember back then telling the employees, stick with us, you'll override organizations. I remember back then telling the distributors and promoters, hey, stick with us, this is what we will do, and where they are. I remember back when saying, you know what? One day, we'll have our name on the side of a building. You guys catch that logo? Right? I remember sitting back there and telling the promoters, right? One day we will fill stadiums full of people at our events. We had our first arena event 12 months ago, actually. We filled the entire American Airlines arena, 18,000 people for our Vitality event last year, right? I remember sitting back there saying one day, when we had nothing, right? When we had absolutely nothing, saying one day this is what'll happen. I remember when we were first getting started, myself, Dick and Ryan, we would run around saying, we're gonna revolutionize an industry. Mind you, we're like our mid-20s, right? Run around mid-20s, nothing really to stand upon. Said, we are gonna shift the way this industry has been done. We're not going to build ViSalus based on where this industry came from. We're going to build it based on where we know it will what? Go. How many of you guys are from the direct selling network marketing channel? There's quite a few. How many of you guys have seen companies in, I don't know, the last 3 years or so? How many of you guys have seen a big shift away from binary plans to more unilevel plans out there, right? Some of you guys have probably seen that. When we first started with our comp plan, people thought we were nuts. We were the only unilevel plan out there. Everything in the entire industry was focused on the binary. You've seen a shift over the last few years. We were the first to start that shift. How many of you guys have seen companies launch a 3 for free program in the last couple of years? How many of you guys have seen companies launch car incentives early in the comp plan instead of at the last position in the comp plan over the last couple of years? How many of you guys have seen companies launch a shake in the last couple of years? How many of you guys have seen companies actually go as far as launching a challenge over the last couple of years? Guys, all right, we were the first at every single one of those things. Literally, what we've done within the industry over the last few years is shifted the way the industry works. All things we talked about years ago, you guys, before any results to speak. And a lot of people told us it would never happen. A lot of people said, you guys are crazy. How many of you guys have realized we give away a lot of BMWs? What do we put on the back of all of the BMWs? What do we put on the back of all the BMWs? Over 15,000 of them. Over 15,000 of them on the road. Right? And I only share this with you guys just to create perspective. ViSalus is a company that You know how sometimes, and again, for those of you guys that have looked in this industry, a lot of times companies within the network marketing space, the more you learn, the more gotchas you find. You guys know what I mean by that? Like the deeper you get in, you find that the picture isn't as great as what you thought, right? The promises don't meet the expectations. This industry's full of hollow promises. It's full of inflated expectations. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? It is. You guys, I promise you, ViSalus is a company that the more you learn about how it works, the more in love you become with the company and a culture. And that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement within this space. And I believe you can learn a lot about people in two phases of their life. I think you learn the most about people when they get down and out, they've hit rock bottom, and they have nothing, right? Because when someone gets challenged and life throws things their way, that's when you have a true test of character, right? Is that a person that breaks down, or is that a person that breaks through? Is that a person that blames, or is that a person that takes responsibility? Is that a person that runs, or is that a person that rises up? How many of you guys know, right, people that have been in situations like that and they go one way or the other, right? And you can learn a lot about people in those situations. As ViSalus was born in that situation. It was born in that situation, half a mile down the street. You can also learn a lot about people once they have everything. You can learn a lot about people when they no longer have to do anything. Guys, Ryan just gave you a number. Some of you maybe have caught, some of you guys maybe wrote this down, bless you. He told you last year we did how much in profit? How much in profit?
90%.
We got smart people in the room, they're taking notes, right? You guys, and I'm speaking as founders and even as leaders, we got to a point a long time ago where we don't have to do anything. We don't do this because we have to. We do it because we get to. We do it because we want to. And we do it because it's what we're passionate about. And I point those things out because you were in a room of really special people, right? You guys are all here because you are influencers. You're here because you've had success in what you do. You should be judging the character of the leaders that are behind this company. And I want you guys to know we've been on both sides of the fence. We've been tested and battle tested, and every time we get to the other side stronger. And we've gotten to the point where we don't have to do anything. We're a lot of people in that same situation that have been gone on to something else. Who knows people like that, right? Yet we wake up every day and we work just as hard and just as long, right, as we did day one, because it's what we love to do. And the visions that we painted from day one 8 years ago, from an office right down the street, literally in a shipping closet with 2 employees, because those became reality. And you're going to start hearing Nick. I know a lot of you guys have been on these calls the last couple weeks. You're going to start hearing vision. Tomorrow, you're going to hear a lot of vision. You're going to hear about the fact that we're just getting started right now. You're going to hear about where we're going to take the foundation and where we're going to go. And you guys, if history is any indication of future, I'm telling you, you will realize you're in a very exciting seat right now.
Yeah.
You're in a very exciting seat right now, as we're about to create an entire new wave, an entire new cycle, a brand new product category, literally at the forefront of our entire international expansion plan. And you're in a room with the best of the industry and the best of the best leaders right here that have ran this play 20 times before, and every time they get better. And that's the seat you're sitting in right now. How many of you guys get it? You guys really get it? I appreciate all of you. I look at this room, I look forward to getting to know and build relationships, all of you guys. We look at a room like this not as brand new directors or a couple day or a couple week regional directors. We look at this room as really the entire next class of ambassadors, right? And that's really the energy we're going to be bringing not only to tonight, but most of tomorrow, is an entire new generation of ambassadors and above. So I want to welcome you guys to the family. I look forward to building that relationship. And I want to turn the mic over to the gentleman that is the catalyst. He is the pace setter. He's the reason you guys are in this room. And when he talks, you don't doubt anything that he says, because you guys, and I've worked with Nick longer than anybody, 14 years. And if there's one thing I can tell you, knowing him better than anybody in this room, is I've never seen him this focused and congruent, right, on what he's about to do as I see here right now, which makes even me excited. So you guys give a lot of love as I turn the mic over to our pace setter. Just make some noise.
We just, Kieran, for 30 seconds, if you're a buy millionaire, come up here real quick. All my buy millionaires coming up here now. And in this room, I think financial success is important because you guys are here evaluating a 7-figure business. All of these people made $1 million or more. Here's what I want you guys to do. Share your name, where you're from. your past career, your past life, what you have earned here, and one tip for these guys as future ambassadors over the next 90 days. So this needs to be done in 45 seconds because these guys do not want to sit here for the next 2 hours, and neither do I. So how long is this going to take down there, Chatterboxes? Luke, how long is it going to take? 45 seconds, yes. How long is it going to take? 45 seconds. Or less. And if you're a couple, only one of you guys talk in the couple, please. So only one of you guys talk in the couple. So, name, what you used to do for a living, where you're from, what you've earned with ViSalus, and we might say however long you did it, and one quick tip for them leaving here tonight. I guess because we're talking about earnings, the results not typical, not all of you guys will do what they do, this shit's not that easy. This is difficult, okay. So let's start down here.
Ajay and Sam Barris, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Australia, moved in, imported, and we went from struggling in this industry, near bankruptcy, 80,000 in debt, to just shy of 1.5 million in 2.5 years. And the biggest tip I can say to you is just grind. Like, just lead by example. Your team will do what you do. So if you sit back, they'll sit back. If you're out there making it happen, they'll do what you're doing.
How many pounds?
Oh, how many pounds? I used to be 280. When I joined ViSalus, I was about just 220. Now I'm about 195.
Nice.
Brian Belleville, Huntington, West Virginia, and I wish I had that accent. It's much cooler than mine. 1.7 million because of the people I've been able to surround myself with. And I was the guy that was the jack of all trades and master of none, the ultimate wannabe entrepreneur. From real estate to franchise restaurants, always had a networking background because my family was in it at a very early age, and I was spoiled at the age of 15 when I saw a check from one of my family members that was $35,612. Not that I remember it, 15 years ago or anything, but it shocked me when I realized it was worth 30 days of work. I was in school and they were showing me that every single year. So I always knew there was something bigger, better, and thought I found a couple of homes, and been in the industry. Previous company made about $30,000 a month. When I sat down with these guys, and saw what their vision was and their passion, and this is like they were talking about, this is what we're going to do. Guys, just do not take it for granted. That's my biggest tip. Look around you. There's probably somebody that looks like your brother, sister, aunt, uncle, people out there, influencers all across this country. And to me, the challenge is about 4 years old, and now that we've got it figured out, we did all this figuring it out with these guys. They've got it figured out and mastered. Follow that man's play, you'll go wherever you want to go.
How many pounds?
34 to begin with. I was on a maintenance challenge for 4 years, lost 10 more, now put on 12.5 pounds of muscle. It works.
Robbins. We live in Red Oak, North Carolina, and before ViSalus, I was a hairdresser, and Chad was an outside phone technician. So really, honestly, average people, we've made almost $1.5 million in a little over 3 years, and a lot of that was in our spare time at first. We were very busy. And I know there's a lot of busy people in here tonight, and that's what I want to talk to, because a lot of you, because you're influencers, say, oh, but I've got this and this and this, I'm too busy. You're not too busy to change the world. You can take what you're doing and shift it around and find lots of time and lots of people. And something a man in an orange shirt right there, Mike Green, told me a long time ago was leverage the time of other people. Let the people that brought you here leverage that time for you and help you go out and change some lives, because you can do it.
How many pounds?
35 and...
Officially 15 and I'm getting 10.
I'm Tamis McDonald from Alberta, Canada, and this is 3 years exactly for myself and my husband Warren that we joined ViSalus, and we've made about $2.5 million so far. And my previous life before network marketing is I worked in the government for 20 years. I was an accountant. Very boring, didn't really fit my personality, and I always knew there was something else out there for me. Tried some number of different programs, very successful in one other one, but it let me down, let us down. And found ViSalus, like I said, 3 years ago, and very, very grateful for how it's changed our lives positively, and the lives of so many people. So my tip would be to, if you care more about other people and focus on the success of other people, then the success is going to come to you.
Kevin and Stephanie Merriweather out of Jacksonville, Florida. I was a 20-year UPS man, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom. Dropped about 12 pounds in my first month on the challenge. Stephanie lost 2 dress sizes, 20 pounds. We've been promoting now just over 3 years, 1.6 million, and it's about what I made at UPS. No, not at all. But my one tip would be to, when I met Nick, Mike Craig, Blake Mallon, Ryan Blair, Kyle Passetti, Jason O'Toole, I realized these guys were going somewhere. I knew they had a play that was, something that everybody needed, wanted, and also could afford. And I knew it was an easy share. And I literally came to the table because I drove a truck. I thank God for that. I had no original thoughts. I wiped everything clean, and I said, I know nothing. Whatever you guys tell me to do, I'm going to do it for a year. If it don't work, it's your fault. And it kind of worked out. So follow these guys. The system has been proven. This company is not on trial anymore. All right, the ball is in your court. We all have the same plan. You can be up here too.
Mike and Lamont Craig, about 3.2 million in about 3.5 years. Before ViSalus was a multitude of things, from being in corporate sector to owning businesses and running the rat race. And I will tell you that I guess probably the biggest tip that I'd have for you guys is that as you guys are sitting there, we were too, and we almost thought that this could not be possible. Even running businesses like many of you do, and investing like many of you do, or working for corporate America like many of you do that are extremely successful, there's no end in sight. And one, don't give up hope. There's one thing that Nick said a while back. He said when you look at incomes like this, it's not that making $3 million this is chump change for a lot of people, and we know that a lot of people make a lot more than we do. We're extremely humble doing it. The reality is that we did not, any one of us, I believe, in this room had the opportunity or was taught to work to work or build a business that had a pay plan that would pay us $3 million in 3 years. We just didn't have that, so we didn't believe that it was possible, and nor do the people that you surround yourself with. So the tip that I'd give you for tomorrow, specifically tomorrow, go into that room with childlike faith, and walk into that room with an open mind and a blank pad of paper, and as much success as you've had. Do not believe for 1 second that just all the success and the skills that you learned that made you successful out there will do it here. Tomorrow you'll learn exactly what you need to know. Just do it and run with it, and you'll have the same success we have.
Hey everybody, Ashley and Giovanna Sarnicola. What I will tell you is thank you for being humble enough to listen and for not being the cool guy and the cool girl in the back of the room with your arms folded checking your watch. Because bottom line, there are a lot of influential people in this world that would have taken, the first meeting they went to, and they wouldn't have really listened. And they wouldn't have, had a chance to digest the information and make the decision to come here. So the first thing I'll tell you guys is thank you for being who you are, but humble enough to listen to these amazing people. I come from a background of pharmaceutical sales. I did that for almost a decade, and literally met some of the most amazing people. Rode ViSalus through the recession. Was one of those few people that Blake was talking about earlier. And the reason I made the decision to stay, even during the 2008 recession, which I know a lot of you experienced in this room in your businesses, was that I believed in the leadership of this company. I knew for a fact, in my heart, that they would turn it around, that they would come up with a plan, not just to fix the problem, but to be the company that we are right now in the industry. You're the only story that anyone's talking about. And I'm a firm believer in numbers don't lie, people do. And if you look at what these gentlemen have put together for all of us, we are blessed to be here. And I get a chance, just like these guys up here, and that you guys will get a chance to do, is to go to bed at night knowing that what you do is changing people's lives. You know, whether that's the little girl who's getting picked on at school for being overweight, coming back, you know, after her summer on the challenge and the guy's looking at her again, you know, or whether, you know, it's the lady or the guy who's been overweight for years and they look in the mirror now and love what they see. You get to personally go to bed at night and know that you changed that person's life. Nothing better. I will say that's the one thing, beware, you will get addicted to being a part of this company, is being personally responsible for changing people's lives. And every dollar we earn is directly correlated to that person's life that we're changing. I just had a baby 9 weeks ago, and I'm in the best shape of my entire life. And now obviously I've gained another 10 pounds here wearing her, but I can't wait for tomorrow for all of you guys, so thanks so much for being here.
Kalamazoo, Michigan. Made about 1.7 million on the challenge. Lost 110 pounds on the challenge. I lost Aaron. Exactly. I made a total of 5.6 humans. But there's something really weird about that. That's good. I guess the one tip that I would have tonight, you know, my background is 15 years in this style of business. Never experienced any form of success like this, and you know, I guess the thought I would have, and it was kind of shared early, is if you look at, you know, where your head is, you know, and a hesitation factor. Is your hesitation factor is I'm going to do whatever they tell me to do, or is it, well, I'm going to do it my way? My urging to you on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being, hey, you know what, Nick says jump, I say how high. There's nobody here, there's nobody that's invited you to get involved with a mission to hurt you or to teach you incorrectly. Our mission, there is no success without a successor. Our mission is not to be a king, it's to lead organizations of people changing the world. And we can't do that alone. So have a 0 hesitation factor. And like I think Levon said, start tomorrow, or Mike said, start tomorrow. Start tomorrow. Start tonight. Don't come in with preconceived notions. Don't overthink it. Come in, be a sponge, absorb everything. You're here. Turn the cell phone off. Enjoy tomorrow. Receive, receive, receive. Whatever goes on at home will be still going on when you get done tomorrow night. Deal with it then.
We're not doing that again.
That was awkward.
Aaron Fortner, San Diego, California. 1.9 million in the last 2.5 years. You know, 7 years ago, I made a decision. I walked away from a career as a CPA at Ernst & Young, and a career that I worked very hard to get into, and been in it many years as far as my business life cycle. And as an unlikely candidate to this industry, I was looking for a way out. So that's what I jumped into. I didn't know what I was jumping into, but I did learn something in those next 4 years in my experience. I learned who not to work with. I learned a little bit about maybe who to work with. And I feel like it really all came together with ViSalus when I met these people. I mean, they have the most character, most discipline, most ingenuity of any people I've ever worked with, truly the best of the best. So for you to work with the best of the best, anything is possible. Everything you put in, what I can promise you, everything you put in will be multiplied. It will just go in a way that you've never experienced. What that feels like is amazing. It makes it so you want to do more. So every day I want to do more, and I know we're just getting started. So I would say right now is the best time in this company's history to get enrolled, and I am sincere about it. I feel like we're just getting started. I know we all feel the same way, and I hope you feel the same way, because I know that we're going to prove it to you, and we're glad to have you on board.